So that takes us to movie number two.
All right.
Unless you've got more thoughts on Wrath
No,
of
no, I'm
Khan.
excited to whatever you have and up your sleeve. Although that said, yeah, I just have to say, Wrath of Khan, fantastic, Nicholas
Yeah.
Meyer,
Mm.
uh, and the
There's a
cast, and
what's
and
that?
and the cast was amazing. Particularly the two leads. It still is staggering if you go back and watch that movie and realize Shatner and Montalban were never in the same scene together. That they shot
Right.
completely separately.
Um, and I think on the same set, actually. I think they just basically jumped on what was the Enterprise bridge. I can't recall, but I think the entire cast is good in this. There's an actor who had his name like pulled off the credits, and I'm not sure what the details were with that. And obviously, there was a production note too that surfaced somewhere. Meyer's way to go about this was with all the scripts that were submitted for Star Trek 2. He had his meeting with Eisner at the time. This is before Eisner even jumped to Disney. And
Amazing.
the goal was, can you do this thing for what was ultimately decided to be around 13 million bucks? And of course, the answer is yes. So they had to take all the elements out of all the scripts that they liked. They basically, the folklore around the movie goes that Meyer wrote the script in a weekend, essentially, because the production date and sort of distribution promises were looming. There's a note that surfaced that one of the ideas was Spock as the assassin on the grassy knoll for JFK.
Wow.
Ain't ever going to happen unless you undo it in the same movie or moments later. But I can't see Paramount ever greenlighting that. But they basically put together a list of unique ideas from all these scripts and said what they liked, what they didn't like. And they worked from a shopping list and put the script together. Excellent job. Excellent job, I think. And one of the all-time great sequels around Aliens, Empire Strikes Back, and Godfather 2.
Yep. Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
yeah.
I should
Agreed.
also point out that our approach to this has been different. Eric actually, as always, is well prepared and did his homework today. I've seen some of these and said, I want to actually just look at it fresh on the show and get a sense of it. So we have dueling tactics here trying to actually bring this to you. So let's go
Well,
to the
my
next movie.
your
What's
way
that?
is a spontaneous way. Mine is the cheater suck ups way. So yes. So
No, no.
applaud how your approach.
No, my friend, there's nothing suck up about it. I mean, look, it's smart to do your homework, but with this, I wanted to kind of keep my perspective fresh. I mean, what actually got this going was I watched them review Swamp Thing, and I remember these guys as hating every movie when I was a kid. Every movie I loved. Not the case. I've misremembered that. But they both loved Swamp Thing. And now sit back and think about that for a minute. Do you think in your memory Siskel and Ebert would have both loved Swamp Thing? No. So that kind of opened up the door of like, what did these guys really say at the time? And what I've found out is in watching this, and I don't know what your opinion is, Eric, but they are way more optimistic for the movies, even the bad ones. Like you can see they really wanted to have a good time watching the movies, even the ones they did not like, that they're rooting for them in a sense. At least that's the takeaway I've
I
got from some of
completely
this.
agree. I mean, you sent me as additional homework, so that clip watching that review and then the upcoming one. But you also sent me a best of a certain year where I watched half an hour of them thumbs up and thumbs down for all of these movies, good and bad,
Which was a
huge
mistake.
and tiny.
It was a
I
mistake.
didn't know what I was watching, and I didn't know why I was watching so much. But I will say my takeaway from all of that is, yeah, they have these two guys had a genuine love for the movies, which is awesome. And I mean, they approached it from like a sort of a critic's professional standpoint, but they genuinely loved watching movies. And I agree with you that they wanted everyone to be. They tried to find the good in each of them. And
I
by the
think
way,
so.
Ebert's the guy who wrote what Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixen, so he knows. He
Beneath the
knows
Valley of the
good and
Ultravix,
bad
Valley
and
of the Dolls, right?
great.
Was that Beyond the Valley of the Dolls? Something like that. I
Yeah.
mean, um, I think to your point, well, number one, that last thing I sent you was actually a mistake. I meant to send you a clip for either Red Dawn or the Wild Geese so you could take your
Wow.
pick. But I do think that's interesting to see them, in today's day and age when everything has become so cynical and clever, like
Yeah.
the methodology for people building an audience is being clever at the expense of other hardworking people around you, which is not something I necessarily prescribe to. It's interesting to see them look at things, even the movies they did not like, and we'll get to a few of those, and still try to find something of value in it. The performance, the effort, I don't know. Well, anyway, there you go. We're in agreement on Wrath of Khan. The next movie up is, well, here we go.
Spaceships, we're back to spaceships again. I'm sorry, Gene, but it's the way it goes. Two of the most successful genres of the last 5 years have been science fiction and horror films, and Alien is both. It's a combination of some of the best space hardware since Star Wars and the most gruesome bug-eyed monster since the creature from the Black Lagoon. The movie begins aboard a gigantic intergalactic freighter where the crew is in suspended animation until the onboard computer awakens them for an emergency. The captain explains why their mission has been changed.
Well, some of you may have figured out we're not home yet. We're only halfway there.
What?
Mother's interrupted the course of our journey.
Why?
Yeah. She's programmed to do that should certain conditions arise. They have.
Like what?
Seems she has intercepted a transmission of unknown origin. She got us up to check it out.
A transmission? Out here?
Yeah.
What kind of a transmission?
Acoustical beacon that repeats at intervals of 12 seconds.
SOS?
I don't know.
Human?
Unknown.
So what? We are obligated under section.
I hate to bring this up, but this is a commercial ship, not a rescue ship.
Right.
And it's not my contract to do this kind of duty. And what about the money? If you want to give me some money to do, I'd be happy to oblige.
That's right.
Let's go with the bonus situation. We never
Can we
let's talk about the bonus
Sorry,
situation.
can I say something?
Let's talk about the bonus situation.
There is a clause in the contract which specifically states any systematized transmission indicating a possible intelligent origin must be investigated.
I don't want to hear
We
it.
don't know that's intelligent.
I want to go home and party.
Parker, will you just listen to the man?
On penalty of total forfeiture of shares. Money.
You got that?
Yeah.
All right, we're going in.
Yeah.
I think Star Wars kind of pioneered that idea that a spaceship, instead of being all kind of perfect and sterile like the one in 2001, would look more like a gut bucket, like that kind of a tramp freighter, and there's the crew on board. The beacon signal comes from a nearby unexplored planet anyway, and so space regulations require them to land, and they do in one of the movie's really most inspired scenes. They explore a terrifying planetary landscape, they discover an ancient alien spaceship, and they work themselves into a very tight spot while their discoveries are monitored by television back on board.
Ash, can you see this?
Yes, I can. I've never seen anything like it.
You get a wonderful sense there of something that might have been waiting there a long time for somebody to find it. Anyway, they go on board that mysterious ship, and they wind up bringing back an extremely unwelcome guest on board their own ship, an alien creature that's the movie's most original invention. Now, I don't want to give away too much. I'm not giving away too much when I say it's kind of a cross between a squid and a spider and the Thing, and it's not real great to look at because its body is covered with extraterrestrial intestines, and the humans battle for survival. The alien oozes around the ship like a mucous membrane from outer space, and the movie is one of the scariest old-fashioned space operas I can remember.
Well, it did scare me, too. I looked away, and I was yelling with, like, a few other people, it's going to hit them on the floor, it's going to come from the ceiling.
It's in the next row, it's behind me in the theater. Right.
But I want to say that, you know, strip away all the beautiful scenery and the evocative weirdness of the picture. What we really have here is basically the haunted house film, only instead of a wild creature running around in a haunted house, we got a wild creature running around in a spaceship. And so this is not the greatest science fiction film ever made, even though it seems to be doing very well across the country.
Well, I think the combination of horror and science fiction is a very appealing one right now, very commercial. There is one moment, though, when the film does transcend just that horror, haunted spaceship sort of thing, and that's in this scene we just saw. As it goes on a little bit further, they enter that spaceship, they go inside, they find the alien pilot all desiccated from his voyage that might have taken place millions of years ago, and then they go into that big enormous cavern down below and what they find there and so forth. Gives you a real sense, I mean, from the point of view of art direction and everything else, that this could have been an alien ship. It's not just another TV or movie creation.
Yeah, one consumer point. A lot of young people are probably going to want to see this picture. They love horror films. This one's pretty bloody. It is pretty violent, and I think a lot of people, adults and kids, are going to be turned off and maybe frightened too much by it. So for young kids, certainly, this is not a picture to go see.
It's R-rated.
Yeah, for a reason.
Yeah.
Right, there you have their look at Alien. I misremembered that. I thought one of them didn't like it, but
No, there's another example of a couple guys from reviewing things contemporaneously and really liking it.
you know what came to my mind watching them look at this is the moment in time where now we've seen the alien concept like 1,000 times, but at that moment it was to me it felt very new. And I was very young when that came out. Scared the shit out of me. No secret. It's wonderfully
There's
done.
no way I could have watched. I mean, I've only seen the Alien movies in the last few years because I couldn't watch anything horrific until our friend of the show, Kevin Dowell, taught me how to watch horror movies. But
Yes.
yeah, I used to I'd get nightmares for years. But I agree with you. It's funny that it was novel and brand new at the time, and then I think. Rogers specifically says that you get the feeling of something that's been waiting here for a long time to be discovered. Well, we know that it was waiting since Prometheus.
Yes, we do know the backstory to that. It's fun to watch them look at this, and it's fun to hear them talk about it because you can see that they were rattled watching it, and that you can also see something that doesn't happen much is concern for younger members of an audience who may want to buy a ticket to this. They seem to have genuine awareness that it could probably give somebody nightmares, which it did for a lot of us. Yeah, they're talking specifically about Eric Mark here, but I do like that. They show very long clips here, and they give you a really good look at Ron Cobb's production design work, and it's famous. This supposedly, as the folklore goes around this movie, the script written by Dan O'Bannon and Shusett was thrown through a window of Walter Hill's office, which, if I'm not mistaken, was later our office at the Warner Hollywood lot, or next to it. I was based next to Frank Darabont, right on the corner. And somebody said that was Hill's office. So I've often wondered if the pitch of the script through the window wasn't my very own later in the 2000s. But I do think it's interesting. There's a lot of reimagining the production on this. The writers had a very terrible time watching this go into production. Walter Hill and his partner Geiler created the Ash character, the robot, the android, which they did admit was fantastic. And then O'Bannon had, up till his death, maintained the idea that they just changed the names to try to get writing credit on it. That they said, and I have seen them say in a lot of interviews, that the script was terrible, the script was terrible, the script was terrible, except for one scene, the chest bursting scene. But I have to, if the script was so bad, I question that. If the script is as bad as they say it was, but yet you kept reading and you decided one scene is, we're going to build an entire movie around this one good scene. Seems like a heavy commitment if the script is so awful. So I wonder if that's not their sort of writer's guild defense. I don't know, but you know what I'm talking about with that. We've seen it.
Yeah. Yeah.